Hello friends, today we'll discuss the topic amoebiasis and its drug treatment. Amoebiasis is caused by a parasite Entamoeba histolytica, and the parasite is named so because the Entamoeba histolytica, it means it has got lytic action on the tissues. It lyses the tissue and hence the name Entamoeba histolytica. It is a parasite, a very common parasitic infection in the tropical and subtropical countries. And it is the most important intestinal infection in the human beings. And as I have said earlier, it is very common in tropical and subtropical areas where there is poor sanitation or poor hygiene. Uh, about the parasite, uh, Entamoeba histolytica exists in two forms. One is called a trophozoite. Trophozoite. It is the active adult form that is seen in both tissues as well as stools, and it stains positively with the PAS stain. And the other one is the cystic form. It is seen only in the stools but not in the tissues. And under the microscope, it can be identified as having four nuclei. And these cysts are highly infective, and they are found in the contaminated water and food. Both the trophozoites and cysts are passed in the stools, but the trophozoites cannot survive outside the body, and whereas these cysts are they survive, and they are infective. So, what are the various presentations with uh, infection by Entamoeba histolytica in the human beings? So, first, the commonest is the amoebic colitis, and these are the lesions of amoebiasis. Is the most common type of amoebic infection of this large intestine, and it begins as a small area of necrosis of the mucous membrane, which then ulcerates, and the ulcer enlarges, and it becomes flask shaped. So this is a classical feature of amoebic colitis. There is an small area of necrosis. It begins as a small area of necrosis, which then undergoes ulceration. The ulcer eventually becomes the flask shaped ulcer, and the margins of the ulcer, they show inflammatory response. So this is the microscopic picture of the amoebic colitis. Next is amoeboma. It is the inflammatory thickening of the wall of the large intestine, and this is important because it can resemble the features of carcinoma of colon. But microscopically, the lesion has inflammatory granulation. Next is amoebic liver abscess. Um, Sometimes the trophozoites from the intestine, they invade the portal vein, they enter the portal vein, and via portal vein they are taken to the liver, where the trophozoites cause infection and abscess. So the abscess, amoebic liver abscess, may be a single abscess or there may be multiple abscesses. So this typically, this abscess, amoebic liver abscess, contains the yellowish gray amorphous liquid in which the trophozoites can be easily identified at the junction between the viable and the necrotic tissue. Sometimes the ulcer caused by the amoebic colitis, it deepens and it perforates, leading to the peritonitis. So this can be one of the complications of amoebic colitis. Sometimes this infection from the GIT can extend to the lungs and pleural membranes. In case the especially the amoebic liver abscess ruptures, and there can be hematogenous spread to the other organs like heart and the brain. The trophozoites, they invade the blood vessels, they enter the blood vessels, and via these blood vessels they can spread to the heart and the other organs like the brain. So there are any organ in the body can be affected by Entamoeba histolytica. Now coming to the drug treatment of amoebiasis. So the first, let us see the classification of antiamoebic drugs. So in that, the drugs which are effective in both intestinal as well as extraintestinal amoebiasis. So there are some drugs which are effective in both intestinal as well as extraintestinal amoebiasis, and these include the drugs like metronidazole, tinidazole, secnidazole, ornidazole, and cetronidazole. Then drugs which are effective only in intestinal amoebiasis, and the classical example is diallosanide furoate, quinidoclor, tetracyclines, and paromomycin. The drugs effective only in extraintestinal amoebiasis is the chloroquine. It is effective only in the extraintestinal amoebiasis. Now we'll discuss the pharmacology of metronidazole. Uh, Metronidazole is a very commonly used drug. It is active against both Entamoeba histolytica, Trichomonas vaginalis, another parasite, and also effective versus against the anaerobic bacteria. Coming to the mechanism of action of metronidazole, uh, the susceptible organisms they take up the drug, and with the help of enzyme nitroreductase, they reduce the nitro group of the metronidazole. And when this occurs, the metronidazole turns into this cytotoxic compound. It then goes on to bind to the parasite's DNA, and it inhibits the protein synthesis there. So the anaerobic bacteria, then the parasites like Entamoeba histolytica, Trichomonas vaginalis, all they contain this nitroreductase, whereas the aerobic bacteria they lack this enzyme, and that is the reason that this drug is not effective against the aerobic bacteria. About the important pharmacokinetic features of metronidazole, um, it is well absorbed from the GIT, and there is wide distribution. The plasma half-life is around 8 hours. The metabolism occurs in the liver, and eventually it is conjugated with the glucuronic acid, which then becomes, this complex become water soluble, and can be easily excreted by the kidneys. So the uh, usual therapeutic dose of metronidazole is 400 to 800 milligram 3 times a day. Coming to the therapeutic uses of metronidazole, first and foremost is the treatment of amoebic colitis. In that, it is used in the dose of 400 milligram 3 times a day for 7 to 10 days. Amoebic liver abscess, the dose used is double, 800 milligram 3 times a day for 7 to 10 days. Treatment of giardiasis caused by another parasite, Giardia lamblia. The dose is 200 milligram 3 times a day for 7 days. Treatment of trichomoniasis caused by Trichomonas vaginalis, again 400 milligram twice or thrice daily for 7 days. Management of anaerobic infections, it is used alongside other antibiotics. Then the eradication of H. pylori in patients with peptic ulcer. Metronidazole is a part of multi-drug therapy regime to eradicate the H. pylori. Then it is also used in the treatment of pseudomembranous colitis caused by Clostridium difficile. It is also used in the acute ulcerative gingivitis. The drug is also available as topical preparation as 1% gel to be applied for locally to treat the skin infections and even acne. About the adverse drug reactions with metronidazole, GIT upset is very common. Nausea, vomiting, abdominal discomfort, diarrhea are very common. Glossitis and stomatitis are also very common. Patient commonly report about the metallic taste, dry mouth, and headache. Occasionally, patients also have dizziness and vertigo, and if alcohol is consumed, then this metronidazole can interact with alcohol and can cause unpleasant disulfiram-like reaction with alcohol. And this reaction is characterized by severe nausea, vomiting, abdominal discomfort, flushing, and headache. Uh, Metronidazole has been actually safely used during all the stages of pregnancy, um, and but uh, it shouldn't be used. It should be avoided during the first trimester. The next drug is tinidazole. It is longer acting and better tolerated as compared to metronidazole. The dose is 600 milligram twice daily, or 2 gram once daily for 3 days. The next drug is secnidazole. Again, is a longer acting drug. It can be used as in a single dose of 2 gram for most of the indications for which metronidazole can be used. Next is ornidazole. Is again a longer acting drug. Dose is similar to tinidazole, 2 gram per day for 3 days for most of the indications of metronidazole. The most recent drug is satranidazole. It is more potent than tinidazole, and it is devoid of disulfiram-like reaction with alcohol. It is better tolerated, and it doesn't cause GIT upset and metallic test. Again, nitazoxanide is again a newer drug. It is a congener of niclosamide, an antihelminthic drug. The dose is used is 500 milligram twice daily for 3 days. Next is dilozanoid furoate. This is again an antiamoebic drug. It is effective mainly against the cysts. So the indications for the use of dilozanoid furoate are treatment of mild intestinal amoebiasis, management of um, uh, carriers of amoebiasis, that is the asymptomatic cyst passers. Then it can be used along with nitroimidazoles to eradicate the cysts. The dose is 500 milligram 3 times a day for 10 days. Chloroquine, it is an anti-malarial drug, and it is also useful in the treatment of amoebiasis, but it is effective only in the amoebic liver abscess. It is rapidly absorbed from the GI and rapidly distributed to the tissues, so it is practically ineffective in the treatment of amoebic colitis. However, the drug is rapidly absorbed from the GIT, and it achieves a very high concentration in the liver, and therefore it can be effective against the in the management of amoebic liver abscess. The dose is 300 milligram base, that is the one tablet containing 150 mg of the base, two such tablets to be taken once daily for 21 days. That is the schedule for the use of chloroquine in the treatment of amoebic liver abscess. However, um, metronidazole continues to be the drug of choice for the treatment of amoebic liver abscess or extraintestinal amoebiasis. So that was all about the treatment of amoebiasis. Thank you so much for patient listening.